timeless voices of the eternal church.
John Huss, Bohemia, July 6, 1415. Honored to be assigned the rector of Prague's Bethlehem Chapel, large enough to hold 3,000 people, John Huss applied himself to his most popular gift, preaching. This drove him to more intense Bible study and subsequently to the works of John Wycliffe, especially as they emphasized the centrality of the Bible as the rule of life and practiced and questioned papal authority and the sale of indulgences. Wycliffe's writing had found their way from England into Bohemia, later Czechoslovakia, after England's Richard II married Anne of Bohemia in 1382. Consequently, Huss began to stress personal piety and purity and the Bible's supreme authority in the church. This came after a period of particularly conspicuous excesses, immorality, and such confusion in the Roman clergy and hierarchy that at one point there had been 3 claimants to the papal's office. Matters came to a head when one claimant, later declared unfit, proclaimed a sale of indulgences to raise money for a war against his rivals, something that incensed Huss, and he said so in his sermons. The Archbishop told Huss to stop preaching and asked the University of Prague to burn all of Wycliffe's writings. Huss refused to comply. Finally, in 1412, his Archbishop excommunicated him, not for heresy, but for insubordination. When word got to Rome, the Pope confirmed Huss' excommunication and effectively excommunicated the whole city of Prague by prohibiting the people from receiving the sacraments. To spare the people, Huss left the city but continued to preach in the countryside, sometimes even in the open air. In 1414, he was ordered to appear before the Council of Constance. Though the emperor guaranteed Huss's personal safety even if he was found guilty, as soon as Huss arrived, he was thrown into a most dismal cell where he soon became sick. The council condemned Wycliffe's teaching and Huss for supporting them and for preaching against the often immoral and extravagant lifestyles of the clergy and the Pope. They also condemned Huss for having said that Christ is the sole head of the church and that no pope or bishop could rightly establish doctrine contrary to the Bible. But Huss had gone further in claiming that no one had to obey a clergyman's order if it was plainly wrong. In his defense, Huss refused to renounce the beliefs the council claimed were errors unless the Bible demonstrated he was wrong. Then he announced, "I would not, for a chapel full of gold, recede from the truth." The council, having only recently united the Roman Church under a single pope after years of chaos, could not afford to have the Pope's authority questioned. Therefore, it found John Huss guilty of heresy, and he was burned at the stake on July 6, 1415. When Huss was brought to his place of execution, he was asked whether he would retract his views. He responded, "God is my witness that the evidence against me is false. I have never taught or preached except with the one intention of winning men, if possible, from their sins. Today, I will gladly die." Seed of the Church. John Huss's heroic death only increased his popularity among the lay people. His followers rebelled against the Catholic Church and the Empire. Fierce persecution of the Hussites followed, but the movement survived as an independent church, known first as the Unity of the Brethren and later as the Moravians. The Moravian Church survives to this day and is well known for missionary efforts around the world. The Moravians were some of the most respectful and effective missionaries among North American Indians. Jesus replied, "Every plant not planted by my heavenly Father will be rooted up. So ignore them. There are blind guides leading the blind. And if one blind person guides another, they will both fall into a ditch." Matthew 15, verses 13 to 14.
Reading from the complete book of Christian heroes, over 200 stories of courageous people who suffered for Jesus, compiled by Dave and Neta Jackson. This is the Eternal Church of Jesus Christ, the record.